Ah, the PS1. The original PlayStation was an important part of gaming history, but it was also very important for me, as it was the first console I ever owned. I got it on Christmas morning in December of 2001. Yes, I got a PlayStation 1 for Christmas in 2001. My parents were a little behind the times, but no matter. I didn't own very many games for the system, but the ones I did own helped shape my love of gaming today. But because I didn't own very many games for it, and because I got mine at the end of its life cycle, the only well-known games that I played were Crash Bandicoot Warped and Spyro Year of the Dragon. So when it comes to many of the other well-remembered classics of the PS1, such as Resident Evil, Tomb Raider, Metal Gear, and so on, I haven't actually played them yet. So while I do have nostalgia for a small portion of the PS1's library, most of it I can go into with a fresh perspective without worrying about rose-tinted glasses, and see whether these games hold up. Now, some of you may be wondering, of all the games I could have started with, why did I choose to look at Treasure Planet of all things? Well, there are a couple reasons. For one, Treasure Planet was, and still is, one of my favorite animated movies. It's a shame it wasn't all that successful, but at least it has gained a sizable cult following over the years. However, the main reason I wanted to look this game over is because it was the very first video game I ever played, so it's kind of a big deal to me. I remember really loving it as a kid, but I haven't played it in years, so does it hold up, or was my younger self much easier to please? Let's take a look. The game is loosely based on the film of the same name, and has 4 main levels: Montresor, the Spaceport, the RLS Legacy, and of course Treasure Planet. The game is an action platformer where your goal, aside from reaching the end of each level, is to collect as much treasure as you can. In addition to the main levels, there are also 4 racing levels and 2 boss levels. The game is okay. The controls feel a little imprecise, but they're pretty good. Jim can double jump and have his buddy Morph turn into a glider, which is actually a pretty clever idea. The game does do quite a good job of capturing the look and feel of the source material, so I'll give it that. But the gameplay is fairly standard stuff as far as action platformers go. Jim can shoot a pistol, but with its incredibly short range it looks more like a pink taser. And he can also use a sword? I mean, in the film he does use a pistol, but there's never any sword like that anywhere. I guess they thought, hey, it's sci-fi, and another thing that's sci-fi is Star Wars, and everyone loves Star Wars, right? I think the biggest problem for me is the camera, as it's pretty sluggish and unresponsive. Another annoyance is that you can climb onto some ledges, but not others, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. But overall, there's nothing really that wrong with the game. It's competently put together and is fairly fun. At the same time though, there's nothing really that great about it either. The nostalgic part of me was happy to see a lot of the game again, as going back through the game was a trip down memory lane, but the adult part of me now sees how mediocre and underwhelming the game is, and recognizes that my younger self was indeed much easier to please. In an earlier review, I mentioned that I think there are 3 kinds of licensed games. There are the ones that are just bad, there are the ones that are genuinely good games, and then there are the ones that are okay but will only really appeal to fans of the property the game is based on. And this game definitely fits in that last category. As it's a movie tie-in, given the limited time and resources the developers probably had to work with, it's not bad, and I would recommend checking it out if you're a fan of Treasure Planet, as it's decent and actually has a fair amount of content. But if you're not a fan of Treasure Planet, then I can say this is one title you can definitely skip. My final score is a 5 out of 10. So what do you think? What was your first game and gaming console? What games would you like me to cover for the PS1? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you like what I do, feel free to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.